Since childhood, I had known that something was off about Grandma. My mom had often told me that she sometimes behaved strangely. There were times when Grandma would talk to herself as if she were having a conversation with someone invisible. As a child, I thought it was just a habit of an elderly person, but now that she had moved into our house, everything felt completely different. When Grandma broke her leg, she was temporarily moved in with us so we could take care of her. My parents were often busy with work, so I spent the most time with her. Before this, I hadn't seen Grandma often. We only visited her on holidays, but she never complained and always greeted us with a smile. Her old house, surrounded by an overgrown garden, had always seemed eerie to me. What unsettled me the most was her massive collection of porcelain dolls, neatly arranged on shelves. Their empty eyes seemed to follow you wherever you went. When Grandma moved in with us, she only brought a few things: her favorite cup, a woolen blanket, and a small wooden box that she never let out of her hands. For the first few days, everything was normal. Grandma sat in her chair by the window, knitting and telling me old stories. Sometimes her gaze would become distant, and she would stare into space as if listening to someone. When I asked what was wrong, she would just shake her head and smile. But during the second week, things changed. One night, around 3 in the morning, I was woken up by the soft clinking of dishes. Groggily, I got out of bed and walked to the kitchen, where I found Grandma sitting at the table. A cup of tea was in front of her, but she was talking. "Do you want sugar too?" she asked, looking at the empty chair across from her. A chill ran down my spine. The room was dark, and I could clearly see that no one else was there. "Grandma, who are you talking to?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "My friend," she replied simply, picking up her cup as if nothing unusual was happening. I didn't argue. I just turned around and went back to my room. Maybe it was just old age. Maybe her memory was failing her. I convinced myself it didn't matter. But it didn't stop there. The next night, it happened again. But this time, as I passed the kitchen, I heard something even stranger. Grandma wasn't just talking. Someone was answering her. The voice was hoarse, quiet, as if it was coming from the bottom of a deep well. I froze behind the doorway. "You can feel it too, can't you?" the voice whispered. "Yes," Grandma answered calmly. "Is he in the way?" "Not yet." I couldn't take it anymore. I switched on the light abruptly. Grandma was sitting at the table. Her cup was empty. The chair across from her had been slightly moved. "Grandma, who were you talking to?" I nearly shouted. She looked at me as if she had only just noticed my presence. "Go back to bed, dear. It's not time to say goodbye yet." That night, I locked my bedroom door and wedged a chair under the handle. I didn't know who she was talking to, but I was certain I didn't want to find out. With each passing day, Grandma grew weaker. She often talked to herself, sometimes laughing, sometimes lost in deep thought. One day, I saw her staring into the corner of the room, whispering something under her breath. When I got closer, she fell silent and smiled at me. "Everything's fine, dear. Just some old friends stopping by." I didn't say anything, but a heavy feeling of dread settled in my chest. 2 weeks after the first strange night, Grandma started leaving her bedroom door open. Sometimes I caught her talking in the dark, as if she were waiting for something. And then, one night, I heard that voice again. "It's time." I shot up from my bed and ran to Grandma's room. She was lying in bed with her eyes open, but her breathing was shallow and uneven. I rushed to her side, but she only took my hand and whispered, "Everything will be fine. You're not ready yet." She passed away 2 months later. Years have gone by. We sold the house long ago, but one day while passing by, I decided to take another look at it. The new owners had renovated the exterior and repainted the walls, but something about it still wouldn't let me go. That night, I dreamed of Grandma. She was sitting at the same table, but this time the house was empty. The chair across from her was slightly pulled out again. She looked up, met my eyes, and smiled. "Now it's your turn,"